Hey, YouTube, how is it going? I hope all is well. Today we got all kinds of fun stuff going on, so stick around, pull up a chair, get a drink, because you must have a drink at all times in front of you, within arm's reach. So we got a few things to go over. As you can see down here, we've got Andy's Cerberus 50 ready to go. We've also got some drink behind us there. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Let's just take a minute and let some people kind of flow in. It looks like we're doing okay in some regards. We're just collecting some data, but I am here. This is what I look like. This is the geeky guy that you see all the time, and I'm going to try to remember to look and talk into that little green light that I got right there. So I do apologize. I'm also trying to look at the comments at the same time too. So let me tell you, there was a bit of work in order to get all this to come together. That guy up there, of course, the backdrop, etc., etc. I wanted to make this kind of somewhat special. I got some t-shirts made up, of course, so got to have the t-shirts. Oh, hey, Amber's in the house even. I know, we don't see me all the time, that's for sure. I'm 46 this year, so I'm getting up there in age. I'm just a little kid at heart, that's the only thing. So, it's nice to see everybody here. Hold on, let me do a couple things here. We'll do some housework. There we go. Make sure I got that right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I think it's a nice shirt. It does have a backside as well. So, gotta have the backside. Subject to change as always. So, yeah. But one of the reasons that we're here is to check out some hot sauce. So Andy and Amber have made some hot sauces, and we are going to check them out. I did get to taste them a little bit earlier. They are quite yummy. So I don't want to waste too much time because I do have a bowl of jambalaya over there waiting for me. So it looks like we got 18 people in here. That's good enough for me. I think that's my highest number ever. So thank you guys so much for coming in. I am not monitoring anything that's going on, so I have no idea really how this is sounding. I hope it's working okay. I'm just using a room mic and kind of just did what I could with it. So hopefully it's clear and clean. And yeah. So I know that Amber and Andy are just waiting for me to get in on the chips and dip and stuff like that. So I'm going to make some noise here. So bear with me while I open a bag of chips. Bag of chips is open now. So I'm going to start off with the jerk. That's what it says anyway. It says jerk. As I mentioned, I did kind of taste test these a little bit earlier. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You didn't have to. And I do apologize. I'm minutely nervous. This is very much not my thing here. So bear with me while I compile myself as we do this. But yeah, you know, eating in front of people. Never thought I'd be doing that. So, I'm going to try to explain it to you guys, because obviously I know you can't taste it, smell it, and all that fun stuff. It's actually really good. So the jerk is, Andy can tell you in the comments, but I think it was kind of more like a Caribbean kind of style thing or something like that. Is that correct? And then, I don't know, it's got like a little bit of peachiness to it. I can taste that. Apparently it's got like a little bit of nutmeg or something in there too. I can kind of get a sense of that, or there's some sort of nuttiness to it, at least anyway. This one is not too overtly hot. It's like entry level, I'd say, for me. Now my two favorites, my two favorites are the peach ones that they got. And they got one that's peach habanero, which is this little guy right here. Peach habanero, really good. Oh, why, thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. So let's check that one out. And let's see here. I kind of got a little makeshift table down there. My apologies. Now this one is more pureed than the other ones. So you don't really see the seeds in there, which is dangerous, I think. Not extremely hot. Right now it's entry level for me. I'd say the jerk is actually pretty mild in a sense. I mean, it's probably too hot for most people. Definitely too hot for most people, I think, but for me it's entry level. On a scale of 1 to 5, I'd give it maybe a 2. Maybe a 2. Whereas this stuff here is a 2, but I like the peachy flavor of it. The peachiness of it is what sells it for me, so yeah, there's a solid tip right there. And then this one here is the peach habanero, and it is a little bit hotter. I think this one is, I'd say maybe like a 3, 4, right in there. This one you can actually see the seeds, and actually being able to see the seeds is kind of cool, but by far the best though. This one's really flavorful. So whoever wins the AMP, Isaiah, and whoever got the like runner-up prizes, you're in for a treat when you get this one. The peach habanero is really, really good. It's, what do I call it? It's flavorful, and it's not hot for hot's sake, but yet it's still hot. Like it kicks, and it kind of creeps up on you. I'm starting to get the burn now. And then this one here. This is the dangerous one. This is the last of the 4 that I have. This is the pineapple, and it looks like REC, and it's got an H in there. I kind of feel like it might be Pineapple Reaper Habanero, maybe, I don't know. But this one is freaking hot, let me tell you. If there's a 5 on the scale, this is definitely the 5. So this one is also not like a puree, it's more like a sauce. It's almost wet. You can almost drink it. It's that fluid, if you will. Now this one does put the hurt on. No joke, this one is gonna bring out the sweats. And as you can see, it doesn't coat the chip very much. Try not to get this on the mixer I got down there, but this is serious right here. It is good though. So what I noticed is it's a creeper. So it doesn't start off all that hot. It has kind of a sweet front to it, which I think is kind of going to be the dangerous part for most people, because you'll be like, oh, this is sweet, and then you get about 2 or 3 bites in and you realize the mistake that you just made. Now, I'm the capsaicin king. I love hot stuff. Like, it cannot be hot enough. If I go to like an Asian restaurant or something like that where they got pad thai or something like that, or anything that's kind of spicy rice, I'm all about number 5, because they always do that number 1 through 5 thing. I have only been to one place ever where they have provided me with a 5 when I asked for a 5. And I had to argue with the lady for about 5 minutes before she even actually put it on the thing. She's like, oh no, I don't think you want a 5. And I'm like, yeah, I want a 5. Give me the 5. It was a kind of back and forth like that. It was funny. But she finally gave me the 5. And let me tell you, it was a 5. It was just so good. And that's what I'm going to put on my jambalaya, which I have right here. So we got ourselves a tablespoonful. We'll put that on. Just a little bit more, just for the S's and the G's, because we got to have the S's and G's taken care of. So, all right. Let me set this aside for a second here. But definitely, if you're going to get any of these from Andy and Amber, definitely have them make up the peach habanero. The peach habanero is the stuff. It's the biz. Super good and not super duper hot. Like I say, probably about a 3, maybe a 4 for some people. Alright, so let me get a couple bites of my now molten lava jambalaya here, and I'll let you guys talk amongst each other while I kind of eat in front of you, which is like the weirdest thing ever for me. But I guess we're doing this now, so. Damn, that's good, though. Really freaking good. It's fucking hot, though. Really freaking hot. You know I made a meal. So that's what took me so long. I'm sorry, everybody. I know everybody was excited for me to get in here. But I had to do a little bit of work on this guy. make sure it was kind of set up and ready, kind of had a sound going. We're not going to get into it too deep. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute, but trying to make sure I had kind of my content just kind of sort of dialed in a little bit, and just kind of obviously had to have the plate of food ready to go, like all that fun stuff. So yeah, you got to get the sauce. Let me tell you, I've had a lot of hot sauce in my days, and there are some that are just hot for hot's sake. Like, they don't really taste like anything. They're not really all that tasty. They're just freaking absolutely hot. But it kind of takes the fun out of it when it just tastes kind of like nothing. The peach habanero here is A+. It's hot and it's tasty. That's the important part. I'll take a couple more bites and then we'll set this aside and we'll move on with our program, if you will. Put your orders in now, so that way they know how much to build or grow later on. I know this isn't very exciting because you're just watching me eat hot food, but it is what it is. You're here now. So I kind of want to know in the comments what you thought I was going to look like. Did you think I was going to be like short and round? Did you think I was going to be some tall, skinny guy? Did you think I was going to look like a child? Colby ought to love the peach because she's a Georgia peach, right? Man, that's good. Freaking hot, but so good. We'll come back to that in a minute. Hold on, let me put my chips away. We're gonna coil that up. So just a minute, I'm gonna mute things. All right. So, a little bit of news. I was watching something earlier today, and there was this channel that came on. I can't remember the name of it. I wish I could, but it was actually Dave Friedman on there. And you know how much we love Dave Friedman. And he almost blew it again. They got to that part where they always ask, like a new entrepreneur, a fresh beginner, how do they get into the game? Like, what are the steps? And he almost went to the make pizzas comment that he made before. No, I fit the image. And I was waiting for him to say it, and he just about did. I was shocked. He kind of held off a second. But then at first he said, become a lawyer. You're better off becoming a lawyer. But then he kind of caught himself, and I think he realized that, he can't just make up that excuse every time. So he backtracked a little bit and actually gave some useful information. The topic that they were going on about was innovation, how guitarists don't like innovation. I'm going to be honest in saying that he's right in that regard, that most guitarists don't really appreciate innovation all that much. Like, I think more so when it comes to the guitar itself, not so much with the things that they play with. Otherwise, modelers would have never become a thing to begin with, but that's at least my personal opinion on it. But I do believe, like, how do I say it? Like, circuits that we build, for the most part, like, there's only so many different ways you can do it, right? There's maybe 1,000 different ways, but more than 1,000 of us has built the thing. So just about any given circuit has probably been done in one way before or another before. So it's hard to really be innovative without going crazy. Literally having a computer inside of your amp to run all the crazy stuff that you want to do. So I got the Red Bull today. Just so you know, I need YouTube to start paying for my Red Bull habit, because that's about the only thing that keeps me going. I wish that were half true, but I do go through quite a bit of Red Bull, and it's mainly because I get up at 5:30 in the morning on just about any given day of the week. I'm at work by 6:15 usually, so I'm pretty much roll out of bed, get out the door, and off I go to work, and then I come back here. And as soon as I get back here, I'm usually up to no good. I'm usually doing something for you guys, either making some sort of, some sort of lesson plan, if you want to call it that, all that kind of stuff. So I really try to keep busy and always moving forward and stuff like that. Speaking of moving forward, let's look at something that we got. Let's see if I can get it in there. Yes, there it is. So you may have noticed it says 8 strings on there. I do own an 8-string guitar. My build is coming up. I have the chassis here now, so the chassis is in my possession finally. So I can finally start to actually make my amp, my design. As I mentioned before, we're going to kind of try to go higher gain. I'm looking for somewhere in kind of the Soldano or diesel sort of territory. I want it to be a little bit tighter than normal, hence why the 8-string is important in that regard. Obviously, the 8-string is just going to make it all come together, I think. Marketable, I guess, to this newer generation of players, if you will. We'll see how that actually turns out. Because I also really like single coil friendly amplifiers. To me, that's kind of how dare I say it? So single coils are one of those acquired tastes, I kind of feel. Speaking of innovation and stuff like that, single coils really aren't that innovative. They've been around for the last 50, 60 years or more, right? But it seems that everybody kind of gravitates towards them at the end of their sort of thing. Like, you don't generally go from being a single coil player to a metal player and stuff like that. You kind of tend to go the other way, where you start off with single coils because that's what you can buy the first time around. And then you get into the humbuckers, you start playing the metal stuff, and then as you get older, you kind of go back towards the grave, if you will. But at least that's what happened to me, and I've seen it happen to a lot of people too. It's just like they kind of end up just going that way. You really don't know what you're missing until you get a hold of one. A nice set of single coils really do it. Green screen, yes. So that's how I'm pulling this off. This is a green screen behind me. I have spent some time to make this happen for you guys. I'm telling you right now. That guy up there, I'm a crafty mofo. Let me tell you what. So yeah, I do have a green screen. As you can see, it does what it does. Powered by Red Bull. Let's see here. Honestly, I think an 8-string guitar does just fine with most amps. Like, you can't see it, it's not in the shot anymore, but earlier in other shots you've seen me play, I've had my triple X there, or whatever you want to call it. It does okay. I think a lot of players generally use like a little tube screamer up front, or some other kind of drive pedal that usually has like a low cut kind of circuit in it. And the low cut circuit is just there to mainly tighten up the sound, because most guitar amps don't have, they probably pass too much bass. What I can tell you is that if you start choking down the channels too much to really get them tight, keeping the gain up is really kind of difficult, because you don't have that much signal going through. The low frequency is kind of what helps drive that distortion into the next channel. So if you thin it out too much to make it so it is tight, you generally end up having to use 5 gain stages to get the amount of gain that you need. The problem with 5 gain stages is that's just a lot of stuff going on. So, very Vice City. So I was born in 79. I prefer the 80s over the 90s any day of the week. I was not a fan of the 90s. And lately I've been on a big retro wave and synthwave kick. I literally roll around in the Oakley style, like the Blade style, Pit Vipers, if you will, during the day. That's my shtick, if you will. The wife hates it. I love it. So, yeah, so Miami Vice, I'm kind of into this style right here. I dig it. Anything kind of from the 80s is like up my alley. So Yeah, yeah, very flubby sounding if not dialed in, for sure. And as I was saying, it's really difficult to get an amp in and of itself that tight and have the amount of gain that most people want. And then to make it versatile enough, or versatile enough, whatever you want to call it, where you can take like a normal 6 string with a single coil and make it sound good. By the time you cut that much bass out, that single coil guitar really starts sounding wiry, almost ugly wiry. And then the distortion starts sounding weird and stuff like that. It's something else. So I am myself, like I say, I want to have a very versatile amp, so I'll probably try to have kind of a 2-circuit kind of thing going, where you can have like the fat circuit for the single coils and then the tight circuit that works more for the down-tuned stuff like that, the C sharps and all that guy, all those kind of guys. We'll see how that goes. I don't know how that's going to go exactly, but you know, what else is going on? So yeah, that kind of explains my amp. I have decided that we are going to go with the KT88s. I've talked about that a little bit in other videos. I just got the chassis for it yesterday. That came in the mail. Andy's amp came in the mail today. It was supposed to be here yesterday. It did not make it. I was a little bit bummed. So was he, of course. I don't know if Isaiah is in here, but Isaiah, I think, was supposed to get his amp either yesterday or today as well. I thought I overheard in Andy's last live that there was a problem with the shipping and it didn't get to him today. Andy could probably tell you. I don't know. I might be behind on the news. So, who lip sync? Milli Vanilli. Blame it on the rain. yeah. No, they lip sync. That's for sure. Talk about a whole thing. Like their whole like backstory was just really weird. It's a shame that it ended the way that it did for them, but I guess it's just how it goes. All right. So let's talk a little bit about Andy's amp and its current state. What I can tell you is there's a little bit of a buzz, and the buzz is not, it's as best as I can tell, it's in the switching system. So that's where it's coming from, or seems to come from. If you pull out the phase inverter tube, dead silent. So there's no buzz in the output section of the amp. So when I do play it, you will hear a buzz, and you can make the buzz go away if you turn the master volume down. I did learn that. I do not know what the other people did, but today when I got the amp and plugged it in and took a voltage off the rectifier, it was only 315 volts. Now, I like low voltage and all, but that is significantly low, especially for an amp like this with a couple of 6L6s in it currently. I had a whole set sitting around, slopped them in there. Kind of gave it a quick little biasing. Andy kind of helped walk me through that. So thank you to Andy for kind of helping me, figure out where all of his stuff is at. What I can tell you is that I got it biased up well enough. I didn't spend the time to really get it like dialed to a gnat's ass, but, where does my guitar plug in? Well, right now it plugs into the, into the effects board I have off to the side over there, and then it loops back around, and you can just kind of see it right there. So it's just in the loop for now, but we're not going to actually use it. So all the effects that you'll hear will come from the board here. So I'm using the M32 again. It's just easier for some of these things because I can just literally reach out and touch it and stuff like that. So that, and I can also have the effects in there that I like. The effects that I have found for OBS just don't cut it. And I don't have Reaper on this computer yet, so I don't have all the plugins that I normally have for my other stuff. So I'm still working on that. There's still a lot of growth to go for this channel, I'm sure. So just stick around. There's always more to come, obviously. So, Dr. Hook. Yeah, right. What else do we got? Oh, okay. Hey, Colby, you're still here. Thank you for coming around, sticking out with us. Riley, we got Riley in the house. Thank you for coming in as well. He's a ways away, by the way, for those of you who don't know. And there's a few other people I know that they were really, really waiting because it's late for them. And I know that most of you are on some other part of the world, and I appreciate you for coming. So thank you so much for that. I know that I'm not that interesting, so I know another big part of why you're here is because we wanted to hear Andy's amp. I've been trying to roll that off until my tongue stopped burning because there's something else I want to do. We need to make sure that we have a drink out. Today we're going with some Angel's Envy, because why not? I got a fresh bottle of that here, and you'll notice I have two glasses. This glass is for Charlie. So we'll put that one there for him. If he wants some, he's more than welcome to come along and take his little angel share, if you will. So let me get this put aside and we can do a little cheers. So everybody, thank you so much for coming. We're going to talk a little bit more, of course, but cheers to Charlie Kirk and maybe Godspeed. Oh, yeah. This is good. So this is some Angel's Envy. It's not like the highest dollar stuff, but is as a bourbon goes, yeah, it's bourbon. It's bourbon whiskey, but as bourbon goes, it's really smooth. It's easy on the tongue, and even after having eaten a bunch of hot sauce, it's not like napalm in your mouth. Let me tell you, when you have the hot sauce and then you go straight to the alcohol, yeah, it's not a wise decision oftentimes. So, all right. So let's kind of. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about this guy. So yeah, the power transformers in it are absolutely not the right ones. When I got it, as I mentioned, it was like 315 volts. I think after I got the power tubes in there, it was sitting around 309 volts or something like that. That is absolutely too low, way too low. So I don't know if the buzz that we hear as a result of like the grounding situation being off with the switching system and how they did the power transformer, because I don't think I saw a center tap in there. I don't know how they did that, so I got to check into that a little bit more. They changed out everything, so the power transformer as well has been changed out, or output transformer, excuse me, as well has been changed out, and it is certainly not the right ones for this thing. I do have a set, as I mentioned. They should work in this. I don't see why they wouldn't, but I'm going to have to play around with it a little bit and see. I'm hoping that the kind of the sound, like the flub that Andy was talking about with the channel kind of feeling like it's on the edge of blocking distortion, I'm kind of hoping that that will work itself out once the voltage gets where it's supposed to be. I would imagine that we're going to end up at about 330 or thereabouts, 330 volts at the phase inverter. And I think if all goes right, I should be right around 490 thereabouts on the plate of the 6L6s when we get it all done up right. That's the plan. It'll be close to that. Not exactly, but close. And I think that should get us where we need to be. Another thing I did notice, and I don't know if it has to do with the low voltage. So lower voltage does cause oscillation in some amp circuits. If you have the depth control, which is basically a feedback loop sort of thing, if the depth control is turned all the way down, when you hit lower notes, it'll actually go into oscillation. It's very unique because as soon as you start to play another note again, it stops doing it. But you can get it to do it and it'll kind of go brum, 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 brum. It's kind of weird. It's definitely low frequency, and it just has to do with the amount of feedback that's looping around and at the voltage that it's doing it. So we'll have to deal with that, of course. But I set up somewhat of a sound. I'm just going to play a few minutes and kind of give you an idea that this amp does work. We've got something we can work with. So let's just kind of do that. So you can kind of hear that little hum in the background. I'll show you just a little bit more what I was talking about, but that is not the power section. There is something going on with the switching, because if I switch to another channel that's turned down, it will stop. I'm not going to show you because I don't think it matters that much. This is just the simplest sound that I could get to kind of work with it, so bear with me. I don't have any kind of monitoring, so I don't know what you actually hear. I just know that there's some reverb on your side. That's about it. I think that's enough of that. We kind of get the idea. What I can tell you is the clean is really nice. It's actually really kind of cool clean. His amps do have a lot of bass, a lot of thump and body to them. So even with my little 212 here, once you kind of get some air moving, it definitely starts to fill up a little bit. I think Jeff has mentioned it before that his amps, and even Andy has mentioned it before, that his amps are generally a little darker sounding. I can say that's kind of true. I actually really like the sound of it with the depth and presence almost all the way up. It's full of balls. It's the downer is that the noise that you hear, that little buzz that's in there, gets a little worse as you turn those up because it's injected more. So there's definitely something going on with the switching system in there. We're gonna get to that. But from what I can tell, the clean channel is definitely up my alley. So that was channel 1. It was definitely on the bright channel. What else? Clean mode, channel 1. So that wasn't even the overdrive. That was straight up clean. Dimed all the way up. It's just a little bit dirtier. Didn't need to go that way with me. But for me, that's like right in my alley, right in that general area. You can still throw a pedal on top of it, and it does everything else that you need it to do. So objectively, I have kind of gotten through all of my little things that I wanted to get through. So you guys get to see my face. Rico Swab. I told you it was going to be very, very distracting when you got to deal with this guy right here. So you don't want to see my face. You're still going to get the hand thing. I'm sorry. We're still going to do a lot of the hand stuff. It's just so much easier to do some of those videos where you're just trying to actually show like the work that you're doing. So that's mainly the reason that I did it before. It was just like looking at my face and watching me do the work at the same time was just kind of, what's the point? So yeah, we're gonna get those voltages back up. Do 3. Oh, I don't know if I want to show you 3. It's a mess. Because I am playing with a single coil, it's a little wiry. And then it doesn't, that noise is even worse now, in channel 3. He wants me to do channel 3. I don't know that I want to do channel 3. I'll do channel 3, I suppose. We'll see if we can get something out of it. Bear with me. Bear with me. Overdrive. All right. So I think you know what I mean now by what I was talking about, how that buzz is in there, and it is that the volume that I'm playing at is not enough to get into any kind of what would you call it, like crossover distortion from the output section. I know that I got it biased hot enough at least now that we don't have crossover distortion. Me and Andy kind of work through that anyway. But there's something going on with the switching, be it grounding or this, that, or the other. So the noise floor isn't exactly where I want it. Now, when you take out the phase inverter, the noise floor is absolutely silent. There's nothing there. So I guess I can kind of show you that. Might as well, since we're here. So I'm going to unmute the mic channel for the stuff down there. And we can see here that we've pulled ye old phase inverter out. And what you're going to notice is that there's no hum anymore. Oh, there is. Oh, that's because it was firing up. Never mind. So yeah, as it warms up, it does fine. So that's both the masters up just a little ways. Now they're both down. But as soon as I put in the phase inverter, there's something getting into the mixer that goes into this, the mixing channel or something like that, that's causing this guy to do what it does. So let's piss it off. And then, of course, after that tube warms up, you'll kind of hear the buzz come back. Watch, it's going to make a liar out of me. So that's the master volume that I'm messing with there. So this is channel 1 up, but channel 1 is not on right now. So if I go to channel 1, that was it, switching to channel 1, and you can hear that it buzzes again. So it's definitely something in the mixer channel that goes from the switch or something like that. So we've got a couple bugs to work out there, but Lord knows. So Jeff, phase inverter. It is an AC signal, yes. And then yes, it flips. So when you got one input going in, it has the same phase of or polarity of that output going out, and then an inverted version of that polarity going out the other way. So the plan at the moment is pretty simple. I am going to rip out the power transformers that are currently in there. And then I'm going to put, power transformer and output transformer. I'm going to pull those out and then put in the other ones that I have. We'll see where it goes from there. If I still get a buzz, then we need to work our way into the switching system and figure out that. So I'll probably, we'll see how that goes. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't have a whole heck of a lot going on right now, but as I mentioned, next weekend we are going to try to do the giveaway. So do stay tuned. We are going to do the giveaway next week. As of right now, it will probably be done in either this format here, the vertical. I hope it's vertical. It should be vertical anyway. If not, whatever, we'll see. I don't know how I want to do it exactly. I have the blower. I need to go get the bin still. That was my plan this weekend, was to go get the bin and do some tests. I need to go through all the tickets again. I noticed that I had a couple people that were slotted in there twice. I need to find out if Short Circuit and Spent Electrons is the same channel. You guys both have the exact same logo. So Short Circuit, do let me know if you are also the same person as Spent Electrons. Because you both have points on the board. But I do need to go back through everything again and confirm with my AI that I have gotten all the points kind of scored up properly. But then, yeah, we are going to restore this guy here to its original grace, if you want to say that. Plan-wise, it's not going to be quick, because I still have to build a cabinet for it, but I want to say I got a couple gigs coming up. So next weekend we're going to do my giveaway for that guy right there. You can kind of just see him poking there. This is one of my prototypes here. This is my very first amp, if you want to call it that. This is what basically started it all for me in that regard. I don't recall changing my name since I joined. Okay, so you, Short Circuit, and Spent Electrons have the exact same logo. That little 6v6 looking tube or whatever. Or it looks like a 6v6 anyway. I could be wrong. But, so, yeah. I have next weekend for the giveaway. The following weekend I'm doing sound in Santa Barbara. I have a show that I couldn't pass up. I gotta basically take out about half the garage, and I get paid to be there myself. So it was like one of those things where it was like the money was too good to say no. Yeah, this guy's a cool one. That took a lot of work, let me tell you. So it's all wood all the way around, all hand inlaid corners, and you can't really see it, but it's got a racing stripe that goes all the way through. And if Charlie's drink wasn't there, I would show you, but more or less it's got it's pine with walnut sandwiching a section of mahogany with another layer of walnut, and then of course the pine. Got the walnut corners here, of course, and then the inside of it is cabineted, I guess you can call it. So the amp goes in, and then these little wood things go up the side and along it to hold it into place. That was a bitch and a half. I'm not doing that again. Never, ever, ever am I doing that again. I'm trying to make the amps a little bit easier to build, and I'm trying to make them a little bit smaller. So, garage jams are awesome. That is a fact. That is a fact. So, ooh, cheaters. Well, yeah, no, I think you're going to be glad that you didn't have to do it. We're going to do it right. And the cabinet wise, so just so you know, it'll be kind of similar in some regards to the Peacemaker over here that I built. So it will be tight up against the sides, or as tight as I can practically get it anyway. And then I will have a mirror in the back. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. I'm going to do the mirror in the back, but I'm not going to do the faceplate like I do in the front, like I normally do on my amps. What I want to do is a backlit mirror, and we'll put your logo on that mirror. So when you turn on the amp, the light goes on in the back side of it, backlighting it, and then you see your name pop through it. That's the idea. I want to make it so that all of this is exposed so you can see all the writing and the lettering and stuff. I like that kind of stuff. I mean, you got a lot of words on there. I mean, you got things... What does it say? It says, blessed shall you be when you go in, or come in, excuse me, and blessed shall you be when you go out. So it's got a little inscription on there, if you want to call it that. So I like to be able to see that kind of stuff, and nobody gets to see that. You know what I mean? That's a big part of why my amps are the way that they are, where you can see all the kibbles and the bits. I think that's the important part of doing all this is nobody shows the kibbles and the bits. It's a little bit difficult to show the inside, like the guts, but I have thought about doing like a glass bottom amp, but I don't know. We give away enough secrets as it is. We don't need to be giving them all away, right? So, thank you, T-Man. I appreciate that. As you all know, I'm not the most interesting character on the planet. So I try to be funny, but I also try to keep it pretty square, straight, up the middle, if you will. This is about as crude as I get. Don't worry, I still have something coming for you. It is not a show yet. But the Transformers yellow? No, they're not yellow. I don't have any yellow Transformers. What I'm going to do with this one here, I have to paint the Transformers. I don't like the end bills that I got on them currently. I'm going to paint them with this wrinkle paint. So it'll kind of look like the dashboard of like a Ferrari or something like that. Not red. It won't be red, but, yeah, I mean, as far as a clean channel goes though, on an amp, I definitely like it. It's got that bubbly feel to it. It's got the nice feel in the fingers. That's important to me. That's something I don't think you can get with anything but a tube amp, period. I've just never played a clean amp where that was solid state, I should say, to clarify, but that was just had that feel under the fingers. Like a jazz chorus, like the Roland jazz chorus is kind of a close one. It's kind of got a neat clean sound to it, but a real jazz chorus kind of comes with those two like 15-inch speakers or those two 12-inch speakers that are in there, and that, I don't know, I'm not a super duper fan of the way it looks either. I don't know. That's a me thing, But yeah, so this is the kind of stuff that I churn out, and I don't have my other works here. So if you want to check out some of my other works, you got to check out the fundraiser build that I did, and I put everything into playlists for you. So if you're just curious about like what's going on, just kind of look for the different playlists that I have. So I have the fundraiser amp. That's a combo style amp, little 5-watt. That one has a completed cab, and you kind of get to see what that one looks like in its entirety. I have the purple hazel build that I did. It's the only purple amp like it. That one, as of right now, is a 1 of 1. So yeah. And then of course you've seen how the Peacemaker, came out. So, and then this is just the one that kind of started it all for me. This is my first build, as I mentioned before. That's the one that kind of, it's basically my 18-watt design that has gone the way I wanted to go with it. As simple gets. It looks like there's a lot more going on because 2 of the knobs are volumes. Like you could literally take one of them off if you wanted and have only a 3-knob amp. Same with the Peacemaker, actually. Like if you wanted to, I could make it where the master volume is just not even there, and it's just a 3-knobber. I try to make the amp simple. I live kind of like Joe Bonamassa is kind of like the guy that I would try to appeal to, I guess, if you will. Mainly because that's just the style of music I kind of like to play myself. It's kind of the sound I like to have. we're not going to hear my amp today. Sorry. We got another channel that you need to go watch. Not another channel, but another video of mine you need to go watch if you want to hear me playing and through any of my amps. This guy especially. I cannot believe the low amount of traction that video has gotten. I literally put out a video where you can kind of see my face. This face right here. And you get to hear the amp, and nobody's watching it. So I'm a little disappointed in that regard. 2,500 of you that I have subscribed, maybe a little bit more now, but no, we're not going to do the pacemaker today. Pacemaker. I almost said pacemaker. Peacemaker. I kind of want to push people towards that other video because it really does show what that amp can do. It does everything from clean to mean, and it takes pedals like nothing else. As far as feel goes, it's right there, and it's, a 15 watt, right about 15 watts. I think it's actually 16, I think is what I measured it out at, but it doesn't matter. 1 watt don't matter. And it's just a fun amp to play. Whoever gets it, I'm jello. Like, I want my own freaking amp. I don't even get to have that. It's 1 of 1 at this moment. It is serial number 01. 01. So you definitely are getting in for a treat on that one. So I was talking with Andy a little bit earlier this week, and I was mentioning to him how it's just like crazy how sometimes you can start with a design and it just kind of comes together and it culminates and it works pretty much spot on like the first time around. The 18 watt was not like that for me. I had to fight for this one, to be honest. When I first got it, it was a kit, and I've mentioned this before. This is one I've talked about before, but it was a kit. I got it from Mabel Audio. I think at the time it was right around 2018, something right there. Maybe 2019, right when COVID kind of started settling in. And it came as a TMB model, and Marshall 18 watt TMB, which is, hey Blake, how's it going, my man? And it sounded great. Like, I wired it up, built it, did all this fun stuff, turn it on, and it rock and rolled. It was like cool. It's kind of a plexi style thing with the whole TMB thing. It just didn't get kind of the gain that I was really looking for, and it had like, it's hard to explain. The clean channel, or the clean whatever channel that you want to call it, to me was very bratty. It was like very abrupt. It didn't feel fun to play. It was just too rude. And then by the time you started getting the output section to work, it was already just way too loud. 18 watts is freaking loud. Too loud for me anyway. So I was just like, man, it wasn't fun to play on the clean channel. And then the dirt channel just never had enough crunch. Like, I always wanted more. Yeah, you don't believe me. One of these days I'm going to do probably something that shows this one, much like I did the Peacemaker. I also have another amp called the Atlas. I'm still doing some dialing in on that one. I'll probably show that one here pretty soon too. But For sure, you'll get to hear this one here in short order. Not today, though. We're not doing that today. We're not set up for that. But I didn't like it. It had to go. We needed to change something, so I started just modifying the hell out of it. I turned it into a JCM 800. Tried this, tried that, tried a couple Friedman circuits. I tried a couple Bogner circuits. I tried this, everything I could think of. And I got it to a point where I could get a really cool doom sound out of it. And when I mean doom, I mean like it was literally that heavy, that thick, and that sludgy, if you will, electric wizard kind of sound, right? TMB stands for treble middle bass. So TMB, treble middle bass. I got it to that point, but it was the only thing it did. It did not do clean. It did not do medium gain. It was either all the way up, so gain max to get that sound, or nothing else. And I didn't want to, excuse me, I didn't want to make a channel switcher out of it. So I was just like, nope, we're going to start over again. And I finally started getting frustrated because I tried feedback loops in it. I tried this, I tried that, all kinds of stuff. For 2 years, I fought with this thing. And then finally, I went straight into the phase inverter with a single triode out of a 12AX7. So I basically, the whole other tube in there, I just took it out. Well, actually, there's already a tube that was taken out completely, but a whole other tube out of that, just gone. That was the trick. It just sounded bubbly. It sounded like a Fender. It kind of had that thing, and it was a nice, fun, clean channel to play. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, now I've got an extra triode. What am I going to do with it? So, do I have any original songs? Yes, I do. I do not have them ready to queue up at the moment, though. Dare I say they're dated at this point? I have been playing guitar for 30 years, something like that. Long time. More than half my life at this point. And eons ago in my 20s, I was in this band called Endeavor. That's the name of my company. Prior to ATEC was Endeavor Music Productions. And that's what I did. So during the time that I was with this band called Endeavor, my friend Brian, the one who's supplying the computer that we're getting to view all this stuff because of, he was a drummer. So he had the biggest dick. I'm not kidding either. Anyway, but he's probably dying right now if he's watching this. He's not watching it though, so it's all good. But we wrote some songs. We have a couple. Maybe one of these days I'll show them. I can sing. I'm not a singer. I don't sing. I don't like to. So yeah. So Endeavor was kind of an interesting one. I live next to Vandenberg Air Force Base, so we're pretty close. I'm very close to Vandenberg Air Force Base, or the Space Force Base. It's got to be the Space Force Base. Yeah, right. But one day I was going by, and you probably all have heard of the Endeavor, space shuttle, and they had this camp that they were advertising at the time. And again, we're going back like 25, almost 30 years now. They had this camp that they were doing like a little advertisement for. So as I was driving home one day, and I passed by this sign that said Endeavor, and I was like, Endeavor, Endeavor, and ever, Endeavor. Hey guys, I have this idea for a band name. How about And Ever? But we'll just do it with And Ever instead of like Endeavor, the space shuttle, And they went for it. And the rest is kind of history. I used that name for 25 years before I kind of gave up doing sound. I don't really like to do sound anymore, so I pick and choose, if you will. I cherry pick. I moonlight. So, in any case, yeah, I do have some music someday. Maybe. Not today, though. But it would peel your skin off the face. Yeah, I'll bet it would. I would be the only guy that has a 400-watt amp that literally only uses a quarter watt of it. It would generate more heat than my water heater over there. Probably, quite probably. I could use it to, heat my house. I could use it to heat my bowl of now starting to get cold jambalaya. Oh, why, thank you, my man. I appreciate that. I think you rock, to be honest. Your freaking salsa is freaking really good. And I don't even want to call it salsa because it's not really salsa. It's more like a sauce, by the way. Like, you could, if you got it a little bit thicker, you could call it a jam, and it would be perfect for like making hot jam or spicy jam or whatever they call it. And especially the peach habanero one. That is really good, by the way. Uh, it's without wine. Oh, Blake, yeah. So you two should get to know and talk with each other. So, Andy, just so you know, Blake winds his own Transformers. He takes old parts and redoes them or whatnot. So it's an endeavor to get what broke. How did you break it? Jalapeno jelly, yes, very much so. Jalapeno jelly. My parents made some one year, and it was really really good. I liked how the sweetness kind of worked with the whole thing, and it was hot. It was like spicy. It wasn't over the top. It's definitely not as hot as your stuff for sure. Um. Okay. Mm. So my story with amp building is kind of short, really. I did mostly modifications of them in my younger years. I've talked about it before about the blue doo-doo that I had. And when I say blue doo-doo, I mean the crate blue voodoo. I had that and I just did kind of what I did with it for several years. Um, One of my actual favorite amps, yeah, it's very good on English muffins. One of my favorite amps was a PV, what do they call it? The Ultra. It was the Ultra series. It was the PV Ultra 120. So it was the 100 watt, whatever. I think it had 6L6s. I could be wrong, but that circuit was really freaking cool. The clean channel was a great clean channel, and the distortion channel, I think it was like clean and crunch. But for a thing that had a single EQ for all three things that it had going on, it was really, really cool. The only problem I had with it was that the one that I got literally lived in a studio, I think, where the guy must have smoked like 5 packs a day around it. It's kind of like Andy, maybe. But this thing, like, I opened the box and it was like getting punched in the face with a like, aged cigarette smell or whatnot. And then even just sitting in the room, it was just like you could, every time you went by it, every time you turned it on, it just smelled like a cigarette ashtray kind of thing. It was intense for me because I don't smoke and I don't particularly care for it myself, but there was that, and then the channel switching on it was just absolutely horrid. You click the switch and it might take a whole second for it to go from clean to the crunch. It was like one of those things where I couldn't get it to switch channels fast enough to actually use in a band setting. Because in the bands, I did some clean stuff and a lot of the heavier stuff. And I wanted it to be like, when I stepped on the switch, I wanted it to be instant. This one was like click, and then it was like, then it went. And that was part of the reason I got rid of it. Two of the reasons I got rid of it. That's kind of why I ended up getting the PV Triple X, because that is, the Triple X is kind of like the, not the predecessor, but like the, whatever you want to call it. That was kind of the direction that they went with it. So it was the closest thing I could get that was still kind of modern, and I liked that it had a real clean channel and three independent channels. It was a 3-channel amp and a real 3-channel amp, and that was a big thing. And the clean channel on the PV Triple X, it's not great. It's not bad though either. It's a clean channel, right? It's just not, they neutered it too much. It doesn't have the balls I think it should have. For a 100-watt amp, it's kind of anemic, if you will. I don't know if it's always just been the cabinet that I have. I've always used this cabinet here, which is the matching one for it, but it came with the PV, I don't know what they were, Shitfields, I think some people call them. The Shitfields were definitely just thin, had this nasally poke in the middle that I didn't care for, and it was just one of those things. So now in this one here, I've got a quad of 90s era. I'm pretty sure they're 90s era G12 T75s. I like them. At least in this cabinet here, they're pretty linear, I guess is the term I would use for it. And when I say linear, I just mean like not too bassy, not too much mid-range, and not too ice picky. It's pretty flat. It's, relative anyway. Gonna tomorrow work on the one. You're gonna get that thing going. How much longer do you think you got before you can actually start finishing it up? I mean, you've got the Transformers in now, Andy. What do you think? Like another 2 weeks? Or are you gonna play this one out a little bit longer, do you think? And then Blake, you should just do videos. You got to make videos and post content. Riley's been starting to do it. I like your voice, Riley. What nationality are you? I like that. It kind of sounds like like a little bit. I don't want to offend you, so just tell me. I don't want to say Irish out of, an abundance of caution, but you kind of have sort of that, like, maybe Welsh or Irish kind of thing going, maybe. But I saw that video that you'd posted about Rob Robinette. I'll be honest in saying that I'm guilty of doing it too, but mainly only in amps where I have typically lower grid leaks. And Liverpool. Oh, okay. Right on. I was I would have never guessed in a million years that you would have been like that level of British European. I thought maybe you had more of an Irish kind of thing going for you, but I don't know. I'm just a dude. I speak English. Kind of, yeah, like New Zealand, kind of Australian a little bit, yeah. But it doesn't have the draw like that, like the nar. He doesn't say nar. That's what I always loved about the Australians. I love Australia, by the way. I love the Australians, but when they say no, it's like nar. Nar. I just can't get over it. I love it. But you should definitely make some more videos, and I do use 0.1s on occasion, but yes, ideally you shouldn't need to ever go that big. It's too big. You don't need it. Blocking distortion wise, I haven't found it to be too much of a problem if you're managing everything before you get to that point. So if you use smaller grid leaks, obviously it's not as much of a problem. And then of course, depending on the type of topology that you're using to drive the output section, you can probably get it to the volume you need long before you actually get to blocking distortion. But yes, it does make it more prominent. So yeah, no, I love Riley. But yeah, I do have a couple designs that definitely take advantage. The Peacemaker's actually, I think, has 0.1s in there for the output section, and you've heard what it does. It does that thing. So sometimes it's the only way you can get there. Realistically, I could probably get away with 0.047s, and I probably should use 0.047s, but even when it's dimed all the way up, it doesn't seem to have too much of a problem. It doesn't go into blocking distortion, or if it does, it's like right on the ragged edge. It's definitely not nearly as out of control or as blatty as like an actual 5e3 though, for sure. No, he did not. No, to come though, we're gonna have to do this one of those days. Now that I'm here, you can do a live with me. I'll do this for you, just for you, Andy. I'll have my little backdrop and everything. Damn, that's good. It's time for some more. So this amp behind me was not in my possession for a little over a year. It actually wore pretty well. So while I was not trying to sell the Purple Hazel, but while the gentleman was interested in getting an amp from me, he's like, hey, I would love to use one of your amps on stage. Do you have one I can use? This guy. So he held on to it for a year, and he did a lot of gigs with it. And then, of course, after a very short period of time, he's like, hey, I want the Purple Hazel. I want that amp done up in one of your later iterations. So I had 3 different versions of this amp that I did 3 different ways to kind of proof everything out. And I have all 3 of those amps. 2 of them are spoken for already, of course, and then this one is, of course, mine. So the other 2, the only thing I did different was one had just regular, if you want to call them cheap or more affordable metal film resistors. Is before I went to the Dale Vichy, the little brown looking ones. And then I went on the other one with the metal film Vichys, like the real high dollar stuff, like the $1 per resistor types thing. And I preferred the sound myself of the Dale Vichy amp. He actually liked the other one with the normal metal films. But the major difference that I did between them two, topology-wise, was in the phase inverter. So a lot of some people call it the 18 watt fizz. Any amp will do it if you absolutely blast the hell out of the output section. But there are ways to tame it down. And one of the ways I found was, one of the easiest ways I should say I found to do it, was to use what I call the flux capacitor. Even though it's not a flux capacitor, it's literally just a triangle of resistors. And you're thinking, Luke, how the hell did you come up with that? And what the hell are you talking about? Well, in the phase inverter, you've got the grid leaks. So the grid leaks tie together into a ground. So they got one side is going to one side of the phase inverter, and the other side goes to the other one. Where they meet in the middle is where it ties to ground. Well, if you put a third resistor across the two, kind of like you do the bright cap or enhanced cap, I guess they kind of call it in some, I don't know, whatever. It's the fizz cap that they put in a lot of the Marshall circuits. It's actually there to stop oscillations. But if you put a resistor there instead, it kind of acts like a volume control, and that's essentially what it does, but it doesn't work like that. So you can put a fixed value in there, and I showed a video, actually. I made a whole video kind of quantifying what I meant by that. You can check that out, and I have that in one of mine. And it kind of goes over the whole thing, and I show you the two different methods that I use to solve that problem. Actually, technically, 3 different methods. You can do the Paul Ruby mod, as they call it. You can do what I do, which is called the flux capacitor. That's what I call it. It's just, it looks like a triangle. Or you can do also on top of that a Zener diode over the cathode bias resistor. And that is the bee's knees, actually. That keeps your cathode bias amp from dropping bias too much going into class B. Cool little trick on amps that need it. Most amps don't. This one doesn't seem to have a problem. That one is cathode biased. I didn't need to use the Zener diode over the cathode bias resistor. A couple of my other amps, I don't need to do it. There's just not enough of a voltage drop. The power supply is stiff enough to keep up with things. So, cult leader. Right, we don't need roads where we're going. So that was those are the ways that I found that it fixed it right up. For me, another trick that I found that worked really, really well was, instead of using a cathode bias resistor at all, you just use a Zener diode at the voltage that you wanted it to be. And that actually, well, the tube was right on the verge of red plating. But all the fizz went away. Like, if you can get the tube to live at red plating, yeah, it was the bee's knees. It sounded amazeballs. But, and that's my word, by the way, don't you use it, amazeballs. Just know where you heard it here first, all right? But obviously you can't have an amp that's running at 100+%, so we neutered it back down, which brought the fizz back in, and so I came up with my other solutions. So what the fuck, Zener? So a Zener diode is a diode that has a reverse breakdown voltage that's larger than your typical, diode. So you can reverse bias it, I guess, if you want to call it that. And then once you get to that voltage, so let's say it's a 12 volt Zener diode. Once you get above 12 volts, it will start to sink the current. And that's how you can keep it from, in the case of going over the top of a cathode bias resistor, at normal bias, let's say your bias is 10 volts normally. But as you give it the big kerrang, that bias voltage jumps up to, say, 15 volts. It'll probably go up more than that if you're at 10 volts, but let's say it goes up to 15. Well, let's say at 15 volts of bias in a cathode bias amp. By the way, we're talking about a cathode bias amp. 15 volts is going to cool it down too much. Sorry, excuse me. So you're going to go from 95% and it'll drop you down into maybe sub 50%. I don't know. Some other number that's lower than 95% though. That might not work well and that might not sound good. So what you have to do, well, a thing that you can do is use a Zener diode. And once you get past, say, 12 volts, you can set it at 12 volts. Once it gets to 12 volts, it just dumps the current out of the circuit. So your bias will never drop more than 12 volts. It's a clever way to keep the bias in a cathode bias amp under wraps. It's kind of like having your cake and eating it too. That's why I don't really worry about cathode bias amps that much, because if you have that kind of a problem where you're getting into class B, when you're giving it the big Kerrang, just throw a Zener on it, and that stops most of that problem from happening. It will not stop blocking distortion though, so that is still its own problem. So just because you can keep the bias up doesn't mean you can't keep the blocking distortion out. So you still have to deal with either using smaller grid leaks, or you need to address that in some way or another, either going smaller coupling caps or this, that, or the other. I can't remember what the company's name was, but there is a company that uses a very, very, very small coupling cap in the output section in an 18 watt design. I'm not kidding. It's a 500 PF. And that is his answer to it. He makes the front end of the amp just super big. Just, let's go. And then he neuters it all at the power section. And that is his answer to dealing with the, 18 watt fizz kind of thing, and dealing with the, what do you want to call it? The bias drop that comes with that. So there's there's 100 different ways to solve all these problems. And you just have to be it's not a bisexual diode. But yeah, you kind of have to just play with things a little bit, and you just never know what the answer is going to be until you arrive to it. So I know it seems like I copy a lot of these ideas and designs, but there's always a trick that I'm employing in one way or another. I'm always taking the numbers and using them to my advantage in some way or another. There's a reason why I like using lower voltages, because it's kind of like getting your cake and eating it too. A big part of it too is also the screen voltage. The downside to using higher voltages on the plate is that you generally have to neuter down the screen somehow. Andy and I were talking about this earlier, because he wants to go with KT88s. He'd rather go with KT88s because 6550s won't deal with the amount of voltage he's got on the screens. And the screens are absolutely freaking important. You cannot abuse the screens. You got to be nice to your screens. Repeat after me. Be nice to your screens. Now, I'm minorly abusive to them. So when you go with lower voltages, you have more cathode current, and with cathode current comes more screen current. So the only way to get around that, which you'll notice by how I do my builds, is by using higher than is normal primary impedance. So that's how I am cheating that part of the game. So there's always some little thing that you can do to make everything kind of work the way you want. The reason I like lower voltages is because you can get the output section to start working with you, or, in the amp. Like, you actually get to make say it, don't spray it. You actually get to make the output section do some work. And it's nice to be able to do that. For me, I'm not saying this is the way, but it is a way. Getting every watt that you own to do something for you is kind of important, In Andy's case, he's going to have 400 watts that are just sitting there waiting to go. What's up? Let's go. And most people probably won't use but a few watts of it, but that's something else. I remember when Marshall came out with the Mode 4 or whatever the heck it was. Wasn't that like a 300 or 400 watt amp? Didn't they have to build a special cabinet or something even for it that would handle that kind of wattage? Am I incorrect in that? Or I know it was like a solid state amp, but I think it had some like tube, like front end or something on it. I can't remember, the Mode 4 or whatever. I try to be educational. So I know I kind of keep a lot of the, some of the political stuff out of it and whatnot, but that is just what it is for me. I don't know. I have a different way of doing it. 300 watts. Okay. You own the Mode 4. I was this close to getting it at one point in time, but then I learned that it was solid state, and I was like, eh. And then I played it, and I was just like, eh. But how did you like it? I mean, how does it compare? It doesn't compare. That's a rhetorical question. Don't answer that. We already know. You don't have it anymore, so we already know the answer to that. So 6P1P. Yeah, well, people are brave. I'll say it for sure. I mean, when you think about most of the voltages that you see on like the tube charts and stuff like that, they almost all say 250. And it's because at once upon a time, like 250 volts is just kind of where everybody went. So most of the time you don't really need that much voltage. Now, this is me personal thing. This is not necessarily the thing. So there's always different ways. An EL34 can handle 800 volts or something on the plate. It's an inane amount of voltage to put on the plate of an EL34, especially considering you have to get the screen under control. So now the lucky thing about EL34s is they have a pretty robust screen. So you can beat up on them a little bit. That's probably why people like them as much as they do. Because it's just kind of a rude tube if you really think about it. Like the way you can thrash on it, it's kind of neat. 25, yeah. 250, right in there somewhere. 500 volts on the Pi. Damn. I haven't gone that high yet. I like higher voltages on the Pi, but I usually stick somewhere between 330. If it's anything lower than 300, I'm not happy. I'm usually shooting for like 330 to 350 right in there on the Pi. On this guy here, I'm shooting for 300 volts on the first tube, the first parallel triode. I want 300 volts on the node, and it works out to, I think after the plate resistor, it drops down to like $1 or 160, maybe 200 and something volts, actually on the plate, something like that, it's pretty hot when you think about it. A normal parallel triode, like to do it right, or textbook, as you would say, let's say you have 250 volts on your supply node, whatever that might be. And typically you would use a 68 ohm, or a 50 ohm. You could use a 50 ohm, but you take your plate resistor with a parallel triode, you should cut it in half, right? Because it's dealing with two plates. So you got 2 plates worth of current. So you use half the amount of plate resistor. So 100K goes down to 58 or something like that. 50K, right in there, right? On the cathode side of it, you do the same thing. So if you were normally running 1K or 1.2K, you would go up to like 750 ohms or something like that. I kind of go the other way. I start with at least 100K. So I kind of leave the same kind of plate resistor in there for the parallel triode. We're talking that. And I use a 1.5K on the cathode. And that gives it that Fender feel to it. It's got that bubbly feeling. And it still gives it that authority. So it's got just a little more oomph and shit and get than a normal 12AX7 triode would have. And that's what I do. It might not be the answer for everything, because I have some amps where I use a 220K. I have some amps where I use 100K, and I have some amps where I use 150K for the plate resistor. But I tend to leave it seems to work out that every time for the cathode resistor on my parallel triodes, they always end up at 1.5K. That seems to be the sweet spot for them, for me. Not saying that's right, but that's just where they tend to land for me. No, sorry, dude. Old Dragon, we'll have another live here that we'll do in the coming weeks, and we'll do this. You want some more hot sauce? I kind of want to eat some more of my jambalaya, to be honest. It's probably cold by now, though. Well, it's cold, but hot. Let's see how it's doing here. Let's see if it's ice cold yet. Room temp, whatever. But that heat, though, with that sauce, damn. I'm kind of happy my mouth isn't burning right now, though. And I can drink my alcohol, too. That's important. Long plates. So in my KT88 build, the one I got coming up, I'm actually going to use a 12AT7, or an AC or EC, what do they call it? 831 or 331, whatever the frick it is. It's an AT7, excuse me, 12AT7. And it's because it can drive my KT88s to full output without blocking distortion. So it has to do with current. So for those of you who don't know the different tubes, so you've heard of like 12AU7, 12AX7, 12AT7, 12AY7, etc. There's the whole family of these 12A something. Generally speaking, the lower the output, the lower the mu of the tube, the more current it will drive. So a 12A-U7 has a very low amount of output, but it can drive through just about anything. A tone stack, you name it. So it drives low, or it drives high impedances better. And all of them kind of just do that same little thing. There's this, 12AX7 is like the highest output, lowest current tube, whereas 12AU7 is the lowest output, highest current tube. So there is a reason that they did that. And it's not just for the moo, if you want to call it that. And when I say moo, I'm not like moo. I mean like moo as in MU. I think Andy actually has a shirt that says MU or something on it. I want to get one kind of like that. That would be cool. I should note that on the giveaway, the winner will get a shirt. And if you didn't already catch the back, so the winner will get a shirt. Pick your size. And Andy did give me a couple shirts too. I got them right here. I got a blue one and a black one. But here's my black one. So I will be sending some t-shirts the other way as well here in the near future. I need to order a bunch. I didn't go crazy on the swag side of things yet. I wanted to more or less test these out to see how these are going to be. And I needed to get them now before we went to the competition. Well, competition, to the raffle. But I am going to put in another order here in the coming weeks for more. So hit me up if you want to get one. Offer me something. I don't know. I don't even know what the cost is on them. There's something like $20 a pop or something like that. So throw me an offer. I can't refuse. And I'll send a shirt your way. But Andy, I do have a shirt heading your way here in a little bit. So pretty soon I'm ramping up to getting to the point where I have a merch kind of thing going on or something to actually sell. We're very, very close. I've been kind of pushing things off to try to make it so I actually have a product line and something I can show you tangibly, like these two guys here, right? I've got 3 other amps I need to finish up first. And when I say finish up, I mean kind of complete the design and a Moo 70 Moo. And then I need to, build cabinetry for them. It's a real show now. There we go. That's what you guys are waiting for all night, right? Okay, it's a real show now. There we go. So, yes, I do need to sell amps. I want to sell amps, but they are not cheap. I'm just letting you know right now, not cheap. Not cheap. I had a gentleman kind of hit me up the other day of how he could get one of these without having to win it. I told him to hit me up. He has not hit me up yet, but maybe this will push him in that direction. I do have a park page at the moment for legacy amps. As you can tell, we're going with legacy amplification. I have the park page. I do not have a website yet. You'll notice that if you go to my channel, I don't have anything posted in there for like a store or anything yet. I'm not quite there yet. Well, yeah, there's no such thing as 100 Moo. They say like a 12AX7 is 100, but that's like at best situation. They're more like 50 or 60 at best in real world use. But yeah, what you're saying is correct. We could make it come out the other end. Be like, I'm teasing. But yes, the burp, that's what makes it a real show. So for those of you who are new to this channel, the burp is what makes it a real show. And generally the only way to get a real burp is you got to get the Dr. Pepper burp. I haven't had my Dr. Pepper yet, but I do have a nice ice cold one here waiting for me. It's waiting for me. That's generally how you get the burps though. Got to have the burpees. So Champ amp. I do have a Champ amp too, by the way. So I got 2 different 5-watt designs. One of them's Champ based, and it's called the DLB, the Dirty Little Bastard. And you can guess how it got its name, because it's a dirty little bastard. This thing's an ornery little fuck too. Fun little amp to play. I actually have a video on that one too, building it better than Fender did. Check out that series, and that gives you an idea of what that amp would be. My other 5-watt design is a little more, dare I say, what's the word for it? Demure. We're going to say demure because it's called the SLS. And when I say SLS, I mean sweet little sister. So it's one of those types of amps that you would love and protect and covet and, whatever, like your sweet little sister, right? That's the idea behind it. So it doesn't do the breakup thing. It's more of a clean amp. Dare I say loud enough to get in and make your point heard in a band setting, even with just 4 to 5 watts. Really cool amp. And you throw a boost pedal in front of that thing, woo, that thing she'll bite. She can bite. One of these days I'm doing it soon enough. You're going to hear this guy, the SLS and some of my other stuff. So never you fear, it's coming. The DLB, the dirty little bastard, that one's with the guy who bought the Purple Hazel. The SLS is just down on the floor over here. So I do have possession of that. Technically, I do not own it. That one's more or less on loan. A friend of mine named Brian actually is the guy who won it at the fundraiser that amp was for. I dare say it did not sell for nearly enough. Oh, I knew it was going to be a rough one to begin with. So a little more backstory on that for those of you who are newly initiated to this channel. Thank you for coming, by the way. The SLS wasn't called that at the time, but the wife was doing a fundraiser thing for one of the things that she was doing. I can't remember exactly what it was for at the time or now, but she put in the hat like, oh, my husband builds amplifiers. He'll build you an amplifier to auction off at this thing. And I'm sitting there going, I don't think that's what they're looking for, but I'll do it. Whatever, I'll do it. So I did it. And this thing was not cheap. Like, you're thinking 5-watt amp, how expensive could it possibly be? The speaker that is that's in it right now currently is a $300 speaker. Like the freaking Celestion Gold, it's the 12-inch model. They are freaking proud of that. They are so proud of that thing. When I initially purchased or bought a speaker for it, it was the Creamback 65, and that's still an expensive speaker at like 200 and something bucks. That amp easily costs $1,000, $1,500 to build, all in, like all the parts, speaker and all. But I mean, that's comparable to what it took to build the Peacemaker. So I don't use cheap parts. I don't do anything half-assed. That's the big thing, is nothing is half-assed. It says finely handcrafted guitar amplifiers for a reason. And that's one of the reasons. And the answer as to why test tubes. Oh, with spreadsheets even? Damn, that's a lot of damn tubes to do that. So yes, I do have the park page. I am working on getting to the point where I actually have something for sale. I'm not really looking to build an amp and then put it up for sale. I'm looking more for a commission kind of thing where you call me and commission me to make you the amp. So I'll have pictures of the models. I'll have description of the models. I'll have all the fun stuff to get you where you need to go. Sound samples, etc. Similar to what we did with the Peacemaker the other day. And then you tell me what you want. We work out the price on that. Again, not cheap, but then you get down to things. So to give you an idea of what I'm all about is, how do you want to put it? Legacy, right? That's what the name of the amp company is. I want it to be, it's an heirloom piece. That's what it's meant to be, is like an heirloom piece, a furniture piece, if you will, made to a very, very high standard. It's going to last forever. It's meant to last forever. And it's also meant to look good. It's got to look good. It's got to look good as it sounds. And it's got to do that thing for you. And that's the big thing too, is that my amps aren't necessarily versatile in the regard where it's like a 3-channel amp or anything like that. It does the clean to mean thing. But versatile in the sense that if you want clean, it does the clean. And if your thing is the sound of that amp when it's cranked all the way up, then that is, of course, what it does. And then, oh, dude, I was going for a hobby. Oh, okay. Hell yeah. T-Man, you've been in here all night, and now you're just now saying hi again? Oh, okay, so he does all that fun stuff. So I don't really bother with it that much. I guess I've been fortunate. I mean, I can't say that I've purchased like 1,000 tubes and had, like a half a dozen that didn't work or whatnot. I want to say in my experience with the number of years I've been playing and the number of tube amps that I got, And I've got a fair amount just in this space right now. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 10 amps just within arm's reach of me right now. You can't see them all, but they're there. And over the course of the years, it hasn't been that different in terms of the number of quantity of amps that I've had in my immediate vicinity. I've only had, I want to say, maybe 2 or 3 tubes where they failed or just didn't do the thing for me. I remember a show that I did several years ago where the gentleman hired somebody from LA to come in, and this guy had a bunch of these little boxes full of tubes, and they were all, not OEM, but NOS. They were all like those old tubes and this, that, and the other, and they were tube rolling while at this gig. And I thought it was kind of funny because it's a gig that I consider to be kind of low grade. Like, it's not like we were paying that guy $5,000 to be there or whatnot, but I don't know how much he paid this guy per hour to come out and bring all of his tubes and then pay whatever it was for that tube that he decided was cool. But I don't think it was worth it. I'm not a fan of the whole new old stock thing. Like, these days, if a new old stock tube costs you $50, you could have bought 3 or 4 of the JJs, and chances are pretty good the JJs would have lasted just as long on a shelf waiting for you to do it. And you got 4 of them, 3 or 4 of them that you could play with. And, one of them's bound to be good. Same price, same. I don't know. That's just a me thing, though. I own and have access to a pretty sizable box of NOS tubes, RCAs, Philips, and, Magnavox and stuff like that. Most of them that I have are no good. And they're not like recent purchase of NOS tubes. These are like legitimately from my dad's collection. How's it going there, Mr. Lieutenant Dan? So, yeah, I haven't had that kind of luck, and I just don't have that kind of feeling towards tubes. I guess I don't know how to explain it. It's just not my thing, I guess. A big part of what I try to do, at least with what I build and whatnot like that, is ubiquity, I guess is the term I want to use for it. Parts that you can buy today that are available today and that will probably be available, 10, 15, 20 some odd years from now, en masse, and just easily obtainable. I don't like obscure, hard to find, hard to understand, here today, gone tomorrow kind of things, that just don't, Lord knows, like, I don't like fads, you know what I mean? 12AX7s aren't fads. Like, that's the tube that everybody uses in their guitar amps and stuff like that. So 6P1Ps, they might be the best thing since sliced bread, but they are no longer made to the best of my knowledge, which means when the stock goes, they are gone. And that's kind of the thing that always scares me away from that stuff when I hear stories about like Dr. Z using this rare, EL84 style tube. I can't remember the name, 79 or 75, 50, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. But I can't get behind that kind of stuff because I think it's more hype than anything to some degree. Maybe there is some truth to it. Obviously they do something different. It's a different tube. That's the idea behind them, is that they have a different job that they do. But that doesn't do you any good in 20 years when you can't buy that tube anymore. So what's the point? That's my kind of whole thing about it. So, oh, okay. I'll have to check that out. Andy, thank you. Andy and Amber, you guys, what time is it over there in New York right now? It's 9:50 right now? 10, 11, 12. It's like 1 a.m. You guys are champs. All to watch me eat your sauce. Do I? Oh, I still do. Oh, I'm such a good boy. KT8. 1. I imagine you could. Yeah. So I obviously a lot of these tubes are designed to be like drop-ins of one or the other. So I'm not blind to that idea. It's just, when you build an amp, let's say, and your whole thing about it is that it uses these unique tubes, these rare tubes, right? Like that's kind of the whole thing about it. So then going back to this backup version or backup model kind of loses some of the value to me. I'm gonna pick on Andy Fuchs for a minute right now because that guy kind of pissed me off. So years ago, he used to make this pedal called the Valve Drive or Valve Job or something like that. I think it was Valve Job, but he recently came out with another version of it called the Valve Job 2. And you're thinking, oh, cool, yay, it's this new upgraded model, yada, yada, yada. And he said that it was a limited edition. I've talked about this before and other things, but limited edition. The only reason I was interested in it is because it was limited edition. I'm like, okay, cool. He's going to make 150, 200, whatever number of these things that there are. And that will be it, right? No, that's not what it was. I got in on the third round. So the first 2 rounds went through. I got in on the third round, and I ended up with number 79 or something like that. I think whatever the sticker said that was counting it out was number 79. I saw a picture recently of a guy that was selling one. It was like number 317 or 318 or something like that. Now, I don't know how many more rounds you have to go through, but if I was in the third round, I can't imagine the fourth round had like 200 plus other of these things in there. And I'm sitting there going, I thought this was a rare tube. Like 300 seems like a lot to me, right? Especially for something that is that rare. I did some digging, did some research, found out what tube it was. I'm not kidding. I don't remember what the number is, but whatever tube it is, you can find it every day, all day on YouTube, not YouTube, excuse me, eBay or whatnot. All kinds of different places have this freaking tube en masse, all day, every day, for half the price of what Andy Fuchs is trying to sell his for to you. I think he said he will supply you with a spare tube, if you will, for this unique pedal for $25 for a tube that you can buy and get 2 of for the same price, or maybe 3 for that same price. I've seen them down as low as $9 a tube, so almost 3 for the same price. Turns out it's not that rare. And then it turns out that there's even another American version of the same tube that they can sell en masse to make another version of the same freaking thing. Do I have it readily available? I think I do. Hold on, let's get it. I think that's you. I think that's you. I think that's you. Are you you? I don't know. Are you you? Where are you? Ha ha ha! This guy, right freaking here. Yes. Oh, mine's, I'm sorry. I said 79. It's 77. My apologies. So close. So, yeah, I got this guy. It spent all of about 5 minutes on my board so far. Supposedly, you need to use a pretty stout power supply. They say to use like a 500, 500 watt or what? Not 500 watt, 500 milliamp power supply. Makes sense. It's got a real tube in it. I can attest to that because of my little tube circuit design that I got, which actually has 2 12AX7s in it. We've heard that video exists as well. But I wasn't that impressed by this thing. So the pure gain circuit on this thing was too loud for me. Way too loud for me. So when you engaged it, it was just whoa. Like you couldn't use it without the actual tube being engaged, the gain stage. So you kind of almost needed it to get the amount of gain and feel and all that fun stuff that you wanted, but then it kind of made it, this other button there, useless. And you're thinking, okay, cool. Well, what did you spend on this thing, Luke? $250 freaking dollars is what I spent on this guy. $250. So it wasn't cheap. And then he goes out and comes out with a version 2 of it. A version 3, if you will. Same damn thing, slightly different tube. For a little bit more money even still. And then I find out that not only is mine number 77, but there's 318 of these things. So I was a little miffed because I feel like I got duped. Like that's not rare. You want to know rare? Here's rare. 1 of 1. This is the only one of this. There's no other tube circuit out there like this in a box. I tell you that right now. This is basically a parallel triode going into basically a circuit that is similar. It's basically a plexi with a 12AX parallel triode in the front end. One of one. And if you want to hear it, I have a video of that available, so you can check that out at your free will. So just saying. And it doesn't use anything that's wild that you can't replace today. Like, you can pull those tubes out right now, put another set in there of your favorite Mollards or NOS tubes, and you got that working. You don't have to unsolder some weird freaking tube that's supposedly rare that's not rare. Can you tell I'm a little miffed? Just saying. Let's see here. I'm trying to catch up on some of the stuff. And I apologize. I'm trying to talk into the green light there, but I'm also trying to watch the threads at the same time. So I kind of got it lined up fairly good, but yeah, for me, it's over there. Ooh, okay. So mine's not a starved plate design. I understand that design. It makes sense. Sorry, I'm off the shot, but be careful with the Red Bull. No. There's no being careful. It gives you fucking wings. I'm gonna freaking fly, baby. We are made to fly. That's why I need YouTube to pay for my Red Bull habit, all right? So if you haven't already, there's a couple people that put some money in there. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. I'm just teasing, of course, but so I made a joke earlier because I just finally started churning out $1 recently on YouTube. And by recently, I mean within like the last 2 weeks. I think I'm up to 26 whole dollars at the moment. Woo, 26 whole dollars. The only reason I kind of bring that up is because someone else was saying that, this whole giveaway thing was for the money. It's not for the money. There's no money being made right now. Tell you right now. But I was talking with my son and the wife, and I was like, I've actually finally turning out some money. I'm making about $1 a day, if you want to look at it that way. And I was like, it would be sure nice if it paid for my Red Bull habit. That's the goal. I want it to pay for my Red Bull habit, because I drink about 2 of those a day. You can understand now why I got this smile on my face all the time, because it's just like, woo woo, let's go. Yeah, no. So I remember the first time I had it. True story. So eons ago, we're talking like literally when it first came out. I worked at McDonald's. I was still in high school at the time, so this has to be like 2000. Not even 2000. This is 1990 something. Dating myself just a little bit. So somebody came into work with this stuff and was like, yeah, this is energy drink stuff. And I'm like, really? I don't get it. Whatever. And I had plenty of energy at that time. Still do now, but I tried a taste of it. It was like, oh my god, what the hell is that stuff? Fast forward, I started working in the bar. So when I cut my teeth doing sound, it was in the bar world, and of course most bar gigs are late night, so you need something to keep you going. So what do you do to keep you going? You buy yourself some wings. So that's what I did. That's how I got hooked on Red Bull. So tasty. No, yeah, you're right, Andy, for sure. It just doesn't work. Oh, you're too kind. I appreciate that. That'll buy tomorrow's supply of Red Bull. So when I get up in the morning, I'm going to have some. Oh, let's go. Oh, in bulk? Oh, I don't do the sugar-free stuff. Sorry. You look at this body right here. You know what this body is made out of? Red Bull. I got the dad bod thing going too. Come on. Dad bod. It's taken me a long time to get here. I'm just telling you right now. It's taken me a long time to get here. So when I got married, 11 years ago now, I was 155 pounds. So I was a lean, mean, getting married machine. Now, I don't even want to say my weight, but I wear it pretty well, I think. It's all up in my face, though. It seems that I'm getting close to 200 pounds. I think I'm like 195 or something now. Something like that. I'm 5'8", 195 pounds. But you can see, right? I was always yoked in that regard, but dangerous in that regard. We're going to say dangerous in that regard. but it's just like everywhere. So my face, my double chin. I'm 46. We're getting there, right? That's just how it is. I finally gave up being a little, teeny bopper. I always got called like a kid. I remember the first time I got denied for buying like an alcoholic beverage. I was like easily 28 years of age. And the guy's like, hell no, get the fuck out of my store. And I'm just like, what are you talking about, dude? I got a freaking ID right here. Like, there's no way I'm faking this. He's like, no, dude, get out of my store. Because I look like a kid. I looked like a kid when I got married too. I was 35. I waited a long time. I'm only doing it once though. I'm telling you right now, I love my wife to death, but I'm only doing it once. Never again. My voice? Or are you talking about Amber's voice? Regular Red Bull on Amazon too? I've never thought about buying it in bulk. So how do you put it? Number one rule of economics: you spend what you make. It's true. I'm not trying to save a dollar. My amps are a testament to that. Like, not a penny is spared. If I have to break something and redo it again, I will redo it again. Yes, real show. What do you mean it looks like you can't talk no mo? Of course you can talk. You're here. You're on my channel. I'm the freedom of speech channel. That's my whole thing. Compliments of Charlie right there. Looks like he may have had a sip, perhaps. I'm hoping he's getting all he wants. Oh, you thought oh no, I'm 46. 46 this year. I look pretty young. I sound pretty young. I have noticed over the years that I've always just kind of talked like it's funny, and it's only funny because I watched a video I think earlier this week where this guy's like, I've always talked like this, but my real voice is like this, right? You know what I mean? Like, he's like, my internal voice, the voice that I have when I talk normally, is like this. But he's like, but I usually talk like this. No. That's the same kind of thing for me. I generally, when I'm by myself and having my own internal monologue, kind of a little bit lower, generally. But I know based on my voice that some of you guys are expecting like a child to walk out, but it's just never got that. I don't know. My balls haven't dropped yet, I guess. I'm still waiting for that day. I don't have to worry about it. I'm married. And I'm 46 years of age. We're not having any more kids, so that side is done. But wow. Don't BS you? What do you mean, don't BS you? No, wasn't freedom of speech? Yeah, it was. So the 12 ounce, that's all I drink is a 12 ounce, by the way. It's 12 ounce or bust. Like the 8 ounce stuff, if I get those, I'm going to drink 3 or 4 of them. So I might as well just get the 12 ounce. Be done with it. I do have a child. He's not my biological child, but he is 28, 29 this year. Something like that. So yeah, no, I have kids, but they're older than most other kids. So I call him a kid. Anybody younger than the age of like 35 or anybody about the age of 35, I still call a kid. It's, how do you explain it? You know how they say with age comes wisdom? There's no joke to that. Like, the things that I used to think about, care about, and put weight and value in years ago, don't even care about anymore. Like, the things I put the weight and the value in now are completely different. And it's just, right now, I'm doing pretty freaking good. I'm happy with where things are at. I'm happy with my life. I'm happy with everything that comes down the line. So we're in that kind of spot now that, 10, 15 years ago, I couldn't be. So, I don't know. With age comes wisdom. And with wisdom, you just have that power to just, do what you need to do. So having a kid, or not having a kid now, is definitely important, I think. But anybody that's under the age of about 35 is still a kid to me, as far as I'm concerned. They just haven't. I kind of feel like 35 is when I kind of figured it out. By that point in time, it was kind of like already dialed in. Like all of my bad habits were kind of figured out. All those little things, my drinking was dialed in. You name it. So I don't know. That's me, but it does come with wisdom, for sure. And my kid, like he's finally starting to make those adult decisions. He's finally, he's only coming up on age 30 now. So it's fun to watch your kid like learn those things and start making those adult decisions. And you're just like, it's like that heartwarming feeling. You're like, I made that. I didn't make him. He was not my biological, but I feel like I love him like my own son. So, I've been around him since he was young enough to be, he was still a child. He wasn't even in school yet. So kindergarten even. So 16. Dang, you started early. I didn't start early. Like I said, I don't have any actual legitimate children of my own, but I say legitimate children, but you know what I mean? Biological children. So my wife, she's a couple years older than me. So she was like one of those ones that got married and had a kid like right out of high school, more or less. And then we met a few years later after that whole thing broke apart. And so by that point in time, I think, my son was 3, maybe 4 years of age. I knew my wife for 16 years before we actually started dating. So it's like one of those things, we always just kind of knew each other. She was, kind of just always there. We were always on this kind of thing here where we went opposite directions. So when one was doing one thing, someone else had something else going on. And then finally, it was just like one of those things where I was finally single and I was getting tired of playing the game. And boy, was I good at playing the game. But I got tired of playing the game. And it was just like, hey, what do you got going on? She's like, oh, nothing, just living the single life. I was like, hey, makes two of us. What are you doing? And the rest is kind of history, if you will. But that's just kind of how it works. We dated for a year and then popped the question. I'm a freaking king at that, by the way. If you need an idea, let me know. So I was able to pull it off in such a way where her parents were in town to visit and get to meet me and know me. And her parents are awesome, by the way. I love my in-laws. My father-in-law is an amazing freaking guitarist, and violinist and mandolinist and steel string player. Like homeboy does it all. Amazing musician. And then my mother-in-law, she's just freaking cool AF, man. Cool AF. It's always good to have family that you love. And that's a big thing, I think, too. So, 40s flew by. Well, so here's the thing. I'm not doing another marriage. So if this one fails, game over. I'm going to turn into the world's worst player on the planet. And when I say world's worst player, I'm going to freaking woman slay. There's not going to be another happy woman on this planet that comes around me. Just saying. But, well, you guys, I don't know if I want to eat more or have more chips or drink more. We're kind of running out of topic here. 16 years. Damn, okay. 16 years is nice. Hell yeah. That's a big one. I say big because every year's big. Like, if you make it to the next year, that's huge. I tease, of course. So yeah, my wife, like as I mentioned, my wife and I knew each other for 16 years before we started dating. But this year will be our 11th year of marriage and 12th year of being together. So MPK caps. I have not heard of them. I cannot say that I know anything about them, to be honest. I've said it in another video and I'll say it again. Pick one. It really doesn't matter. Just pick one. Each one of them has that thing that they do better than the other. So as long as it's something that you can trust and have faith in, then you go with it. Just pick one. If you're into the orange cap thing, just go orange cap. Trying to burp one out here, but if you're into the Vishays, get the Vishays. If you're into the Mallorys, get the Mallorys. I use the Zosos, and it's just because I haven't had any problems with them. I did build an amp with the Vishays, and I ended up having problems with that amp at some point. I can't say that it was entirely because of the caps themselves, or maybe something I did, but that amp, it was a prototype, so it was abused. The way I usually do an amp is I'll build it to spec the first time. So I'll build it the way I intend it to land when I am done. I can generally get it right the first or second time. Like, I'm pretty close. You know what I mean? Like, I can make it and land. The Peacemaker's kind of a good example of that. Like, it's far enough removed from what an actual 5E3 is to say that it's kind of its own little thing. And literally the first time I plugged into it and played with it, I knew exactly what it was I needed to change. I changed those couple things, and I literally changed 2 things. I added a treble peaking cap, if you want to call it that, something to go over the top of another resistor that was in line that was being used as a grid blocker, or a grid stopper, excuse me. And I added a treble peaking cap over the top of the volume control. Like, those are literally the 2 things that I changed, and that's what it took to get there. Where I have other designs, it's behind the thing. You can't see it. It's behind the green screen. It's behind, actually, oh, no, that's up there. That's up pretty high, but in either case, I have another one that I literally rebuilt the damn thing so many times that it was so ugly, and it got to a point where I didn't even care how pretty it looked anymore. I was just like, tack, 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 tack. It's in there, cool. Does it work? Cool. No, it doesn't work. Yeah, tear it out, whatever. You get to a point where it's just like, nah, I don't care anymore. And then there's that. I'm brutal when it comes to that whole aspect of things. So I try to get it right generally on the first shot, but I do have a couple designs where it went through many, many iterations. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. So in either case, getting back to caps. For me, it's about where the price meets the value. So I know, like, Andy likes the Jupiters, and there's no arguing that the Jupiters are good. I think he even says that they're not the most accurate, so they have like issues with accuracy, but he likes the way they sound the best. And that might be the case for him. I have not used them yet, so I don't know. I do not know. With the Zosos, I have not found any problems with them. I don't know what the value is. I don't care if the value is accurate. If it says 0.022, I really don't care if it's actually 0.022. If I put it in and it sounds good, that's all I care about. If it's close, 0.023 or 0.0199, I don't really care. You know what I mean? It's just, is it close? Cool. Do I have problems? No. All right, win. That's a big part of it for me. Some people, and there's no finger pointing or like that. They go for an aspect of it. So some of the, like the orange drops are generally considered to be brighter. And if they want a brighter amp, or they want an amp to do a certain thing a certain way, that's the only way you can do it, is to go with this particular type. And they each do have kind of a sound. For me, I am more interested not so much in how much it costs and if it sounds good. It's got to be cost effective, get it in the shot, cost effective. It's got to sound good, and it's got to be something that's ubiquitous. Like, I know that it's going to be there years from now. That's the only thing that breaks it down for me. Does it sound good? Yes. Is it readily available? Yes. Is it, cost effective? It's not retarded expensive, or it's not dirt freaking cheap where somebody's going to argue that it's a pile of shit. No. All right, cool. There we go. Okay. Okay, what's going on? The Keystone Life. Oh, you're talking. Who are you talking about anyway? Because I know it ain't me. Okay, I see. Sorry, I'm just reading everything here, getting caught up. Nobody's using anybody like a human. But in either case, there's only a few of you left in here. I think we kind of got through everything. I can't imagine any more that we could possibly do. I will have some more videos coming out soon exposing how these things sound. I know that that's important. There's always more to learn. Obviously, there's more to learn all the time. So, oh, you drink Keystone. Okay. I was saying, I don't drink Keystone. I'm more of a bourbon guy right here, so I know that he wasn't talking about me. No, he wasn't talking about me. Because I'm well, it's funny. I'm bougie, but I'm not bougie. I'm not bougie in that I will literally eat out of a, paper plate with a Dixie plate with a, plastic spoon. But I'm also bougie in that I, will drink Angel's Envy. I still have, and I'm probably going to break into it tonight because this is the shiznit right here. My Eagle Rare. I love my Eagle Rare. I'm not going to lie. This is the good stuff right here. We'll probably have me a glass of that here next because I got a lot of class. But there's just so many things to talk about and we can't get them all out at the same time. So we are going to do a hell of a lot more. I hope that this kind of worked. I don't know if this actually went vertical. I spent a lot of time to make sure it does, but there's no way to actually verify that this is vertical. I know that the format is, and I know that the way that I told it to go out is vertical, but it looks, based on the number of views I had and the chat rate and all that other fun stuff, like this is my #1 video, probably. For whatever freaking stupid reason, I have no idea, because I am the most boring motherfucker on this planet, and I know it, and I still do curse on occasion. That's just me, but we've been going now for a little over 2 hours. So unless you guys actually have some like serious questions to ask me, I think it's about time we call it, because Daddy's kind of running out of topic here. I'm kind of running out of topic. We're not going to make any more noise. So it's just, you're just going to listen to me yip yap more than anything. I swear to God. Ooh. Okay. Hey Blake, you and Andy should definitely talk. So Blake, I'll tell you this. Andy is always good at chit-chatting. And he's going to do a live, so even better. I'll go check that out, cuz I'm done, I think, at this point. I'm boring as fuck, and I kind of want to watch someone else do the same thing but better, cuz I don't do that whole shit. It is vertical. All right, good. That was my biggest worry, to be honest. So there's two reasons why I went vertical. One was to try to get the count up for views and all that stuff. The chat rate's great. As far as videos go, this is going to be my #1 video for whatever freaking reason. I've been pushing off the showing of the face thing for a while. I've known for a long while I was going to have to come to this day. And it's just, how do you explain it? When I initially made this channel, I kind of wanted to be like AVE. It wasn't really for anyone else. It was just more of a way for me to kind of, what would you call it? Like chronologue for myself, how I was doing this stuff, and get to a place where I could teach someone else how to do it. So that was more the interest for me when I first started this channel. It wasn't for anybody, because I didn't expect anybody to even watch it. So it was just kind of like, let's do this, and yada, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden I started getting views and I started getting subscribers. And I mean, it took a few years before it grew, but it blew my mind when I hit like 250 subscribers. It's like, holy cow, this is actually like doing something. And then it went to 500 subscribers. And then finally, after like the 2.5-3 year mark, it hit 1,000 subscribers. And it was just like, wow, like my mind is freaking blown right now. Like, how on earth am I interesting enough with my freaking hands in there and just yippee yapping with this freaking voice that anybody wants to learn anything that I have to say? Fast forward another year, it blasts from 1,000 now to 2,500 and something, and it's just like, what? Like, what? What? No freaking way. Come on. I'm not that freaking interesting. So a big part of my thing, I've started to allude to it earlier, is just kind of focus is more or less what I'm about on this channel. I try to answer the questions directly. I try to stick it into the topic. And it's not that I'm not political. It's not that I don't have feelings, thoughts, and, want to tell certain people certain things, but it's just not what I'm about. It's not what I need. It's not where I'm trying to go. And that's why I really appreciate Andy and what he does, because in the grand scheme of things, he is what I am on when I'm in my own element. Like when I don't have to worry about what I have to say, when I am in the zone where I don't have to worry about that kind of crap, I'm just as crass and rude and, all the expletives comes out and stuff like that. And it's just because for me, it's not about, I have a saying, it goes like this. If it's not fun, it's not worth doing, and anything worth doing is worth doing right. So it kind of says it in and of itself. Like if I'm doing something, I want to do it right. It has to be right, but it's also got to be fun. So I try to add the fun aspect to it, but I want it to be focused on that thing because that's the part that you're doing right, and it's got to be right. And so when I say that the amp does a thing, but not the thing, that's what I'm kind of referring to is like, I'm doing something. It's just not the thing that I want it to do. So I try to find that path that gets me to that. So I don't know. That's my little bit of preach, if you will, but it's the controversy side of things. It's like, that's not that for me, that blasts my focus out, and you've seen it happen before the other day on my other live. It's just it disrupts my train of thought. It disrupts my flow, and I'm very much an A, B, C, D kind of guy. Like I don't go from A to Z to M to L and then back in the in betweens. Like I don't do very well with that kind of thing. It's like I like 1, 2, 3, 4. There are certain things I've gotten really, really good over the years. I have some OCDs. Probably you can figure that out. You probably know that. There are certain things that just cannot slide. You cannot do A and then go to C. Like you have to go through B first to get there. And some of those things exist in my world, and that's why these look the way that they do. And that's why they take as long as they take to make, because there are no corners cut. I'm like the fucking Wendy's goddamn freaking amp building over here. We don't cut corners. But it's just a different way of doing it. It's not that it's the best way. It's just a way. Everybody's kind of got their thing that they do. And I can see how Andy is doing his stuff here, and I get it. Like I can see he goes that direction for a reason. And sans the anal retentiveness that I have about some of my things. Like I get there's the way that he does it it's clean. It's freaking way cool. All kinds of fun, and it works the way it works. I don't have multi-channel switching amps and stuff like that. He does. So everybody does something a different way, and we all have a different way to get there. So I'm listening, Lieutenant. I hear you. I'm watching. So I don't have Messenger, by the way. I do not do I don't do anything that's freaking social media. This is as social media as I get right here. I do not have Instagram. I gave up Facebook eons ago, 10 years ago, more maybe. I don't do it. I'm my own worst enemy. Literally, I'm my own worst enemy. Mainly because I just talk too freaking much. So, but, so somebody said A-Tech. I'm still just waiting for the question. So that last 5%, I don't know. For me, like a build is the sum of all parts, right? And yes, I ate the hot sauce, and it's fucking good too. What I can tell you is that like, it doesn't matter how neat the wiring really is. Like it's got to be in the right place, at the right spot in the amp, right? Like you can wire an amp pretty sloppily and get away with it. Especially a simple design. Most of my designs are pretty simple, so they don't require a whole heck of a lot of like attention to detail. But I think the part that I focus on the most is that attention to detail, right? Like to me, it's like, it's got to be perfect. And I know it cannot be. It cannot be. So that's the hardest part for me to get through, is that part where it's just like, man, there's this little air there. Like, you know, on the ring that goes around the peacemaker, like I cut one of them like a 32nd of an inch too short. And it's like, you can't add the metal back. So the only other way around it is to go take a whole nother piece of metal and cut it and get it right and not fuck it up. Or live with the fact that you cut an extra 32nd of an inch off of that thing, and, you know, which way do you go with it? And for me, in this case, it was like, I bought enough metal to do 3 amps. I didn't buy enough to do an unlimited number of amps. I bought enough to do 3. That's it. So it was like, okay, it's a 32nd inch of an off. Is somebody going to sit there and go, oh, unbelievable, I can't believe that motherfucker missed it by that much? You know what I mean? Like, most people aren't going to sit there, and I know they're not. And that's the hard part for me to let go, is that knowing that when you look at it from the normal distance, like right here, you cannot tell that 32nd of an inch. You cannot tell from here. So it passes that 5-foot view. The only way that you can see any of the errors at all, the flaws that come in it, is if you really get up on it with a magnifying glass and start busting out tape measures and be like, man, that thing missed square by 1/1000 of an inch. That motherfucker. Right? I try not to be that anal retentive about it, but I am, because I'm sitting there thinking about it the entire time. It's like, I want it to be, but it can't be. It just can't be. These are handmade. These are not made by a machine. Some parts are. Some parts are made by a machine, but it's still glued by a human. It's still screwed by a human, and it's still covered by a human, and all the parts that go in it are still done by a human. I'm that freaking human. I'm the freaking asshole that does the work. And I can tell you right now, I am not the best at all this shit. Not even by a freaking country mile. As much as I'd like to think that I do that good of a level of work at everything, I can't. Nobody is that good at everything. And when I say that good at everything, I talked about it before in one of my other videos about why our guitar, amp builder's so weird. I'm no exception to the weird part, I guess. I'm a geeky, goofy guy, but, to be great at building a killer circuit, best in the world, whatever you want to consider it to be, that's hard enough in and of itself. And then to make the world's greatest looking cabinet, to do that on top of all the other shit is, hardest thing ever in the, whatever. Like, that's not easy. And then to be a good businessman, that's a whole nother level. Like, who's really that good of a businessman, that good of an amp builder, that good of a cabinet builder, and personable. Somebody that can be in a group of people, look you straight in the eye, and you know that he's not fucking with you. You know he's not bullshitting you and all that stuff. So, Lamborghini commercials? Oh, I thought I would be getting some Pagani freaking commercials. Like, if you think about it, realistically, the shit that we're doing here, like, that thing right there, that is a fucking Pagani. Period. Like, there's no other amp on this freaking planet done to that level of quality. Like, in terms of, like, the whole freaking package. The Pagani, the freaking McLaren, the Bugatti of amplifiers. But I say the F-bomb and the D-bomb, the A-bomb, and all the other bombs too much. And I know that I'm not that guy. And I'm goofy enough, I know that I'm not that guy. But, Viagra, I mean, you don't even need Viagra anymore. Did you know? I was watching a thing the other day, they were talking about that. So, those Rhino pills, those Rhino, like 6,000, 9,000s or whatever that they sell at the gas station, those actually have that Zavenadil or whatever the freaking crap that they sell in the blue pills. It is in those pills. Just saying. So you don't have to go and get a prescription. You don't have to be incognito. Just go to a gas station you haven't been to in a while and say, like, can I try one of those? Put on a freaking show. Throw down. Make your wife wonder what the hell's been going on. No, I have not ridden my bike lately, dude. I'm so mad at myself. So I told myself that this summer I was going to ride some more, and I shit you not, dude. It's the older I get and the more successful I become, I feel the more and more and more I have going on. It's like there's no freaking break. Something breaks and you got to fix it. There's some other thing that you got to do, and there's just no way around it. There's always something I have to freaking do, and it's eating into a lot of my spare time. This amp was one of them. Guitar amp building in and of itself is starting to become kind of that hobby that is eating all my time. Because when I get up in the morning, the first thing I'm thinking about isn't going to work to fix somebody's freaking printer or deal with, something silly that, they just don't know computers well enough to fix it for themselves, right? That's my job, is to make computers and network systems and all that crap work. That's what I do. That's my day job. Multiple income streams. I've talked about it before. Like the secret to life is multiple income streams. I think I said it on one of my recent lives, and it was towards the end, about this time even, is multiple income streams. Like that's the only way to freaking win in life, is to like literally get up in the morning on a Saturday and know that you're still making $300 that you didn't do anything for. Right? So I'm in investing. I am trying to get into this amp building thing. I got this YouTube sort of starting to pick up maybe a little bit. We'll see. It's better than zero. And then of course, I do my sound stuff on the side. There's always just something, and it's eating into my free time. And that's why I'm trying to quit doing sound. The problem is when you're actually really good at doing something, it's really hard to let it go. Because sound is what I did for 25 years, and I'm pretty good at it. Not great. I'm not the best. Never going to say I'm the best, but I'm definitely no freaking slouch, and I'm hard to hate. Not easy to like, but I'm hard to hate, right? And that's the only thing I can say that gets me to where I'm at, right? I'm hard to hate. Well, no, hard to like, even harder to hate. I'm going the other direction. So for most people, I'm not saying all, but for most, they start in IT and then become a sound guy. And it's because most guys that do IT are kind of a little, they usually have some sort of mental thing, right? They're not very personable. They're too smart for their own good. They know a lot of stuff. My friend Brian is like that. Like he's freaking the smartest guy in the room everywhere he goes. Hate that asshole sometimes for it. I envy him for that. Because it's always nice to have a friend that is that freaking level of intelligence. But he knows he's not the most personable and sociable person out there. That's where I come in. So between the two of us, we're like, Pinky in the brain. Sometimes Pinky just has that moment where he just wins it all. That's me sometimes. But you know what, Jessica, I'm going to tell you this right now. I am absolute living proof that if you make it, they will watch it. Period. And the fact that you're a chica, it's gonna improve your odds a hell of a lot more than this guy right here. Because ain't nobody coming here for my face. I'm shocked that I got as many people here for my hands as I did. But if you make it, they will watch it. It baffles my mind, because I was saying earlier, I never thought in a million years I would get to where I'm at, even at this moment in time. I think I said it the other day on one of my other lives, but like Andy Lederman's channel, I was watching him probably when he had 200, 300 subscribers. I want to say right in there is when I started watching his channel. And I'm sitting there going, I don't understand how this guy doesn't have more like subscribers. I get it, because he, every other word is an expletive. Whatever, that's just how it is, right? I get him. I'm no different. I've said it before. That's me in my own free will. And I was on a vacation with the wife, And I was watching Andy, and she's like, "Who is that guy? Why are you watching him? He just curses all the time." And I was like, "Well, he's kind of doing the same thing as me. He's talking about amplifiers. I'm into him. He's a really smart character. He knows what he's talking about." And I think, honest to God, his channel is going to outgrow mine in no time. Like, he's just going to start collecting and driving a force to contend with, if you will. Sure as crap. Here we are now, only 5-6 months later, maybe something like that, 5 months. And he's not only doubled mine, but he's made 500 subscribers in the last week or something like that. It's nuts, freaking insane. I am not that guy. I'm not that interesting. I have a shit ton of stories. Do not get me wrong. I have a bazillion freaking stories. Coming up with them on the spot and being willing to tell you. So, it's just not all the stories are worth telling. I'm like Andy, I'm a rock and roller. I did rock and roll for 25 freaking years. I have done some stupid shit. I have done some amazing shit. I have done stuff that I can guarantee you, no one else has done that's standing in this position right here and gets to tell you that story. Let me tell you. I think I told Andy the other day one of them. I kid you not. There are some stories out there. They exist. I'm not going to tell you, Amber. You got to earn it, all right? I need a hell of a lot more followers than I got now to get that out. But I do have the stories. So here's a funny thing. When I was in high school, I was this guy. I was the freaking square. I was the box of a box. Like, my whole thing going through high school was that I got the attendance award. So I was in middle school. I got a lot of detention and all that stuff, right? No, Amber, not going to happen. That's a totally different type of shit show, though. That's based on emotion. I'm not emotional in that regard. I'm a man. So in either case, I get into high school. No longer did I ever get any kind of detention or suspension or anything like that. Like, I was a square in every sense of the imagination. But while in my senior year, I had an econ teacher named Mrs. Bean. Of all names, Mrs. Bean. But in either case, she probably had two of the biggest impacts on my life in terms of just like the things that kind of led me down that different path, for better or for worse. So one of the things that she said, and it sticks with me to this day, and Brian, my friend Brian, and we talk about him all the time. He always freaking, oh God, here he goes with that story again. But she said during class, if somebody wrote a book about your life, would they want to continue to read it? Think about that for a second and replay that in your mind. If somebody wrote a book about your life, would they want to continue to read it? And that one freaking, I was just like, oh, I'm this guy. I'm a fucking box. I'm a perfect square. And that one was like, ugh, Luke, you need to freaking start doing stuff. Tell her to get her ass to bed. I'm not telling her no damn stories. We're telling a story right now. I'll bet you got a pretty good story there, T-Max, but today's my day because it's all about me. But, so yeah, that one hit me hard because it was just definitely ooh, I don't have any stories. I didn't have anything. Up until that point in time, it wasn't like I was abused. I didn't, I never saw a dead body, never all that stuff. I was the perfect square. I have nothing in my life to compare or complain to anyone else's shit show of their life. Right. So when I heard that, I was just like, okay, Luke, you have to start making stories. And boy, did I ever start making some freaking stories. We have not gotten to we haven't even touched on a portion of them as of yet. Obviously, if you're a subscriber and you stick around, not today, and you stick around, right, you will obviously probably learn something or more. Some stories will just not get told, but it's unreal, some of the things I've gotten to do, and a lot of it has to do with music. I have literally made my entire life so far out of music. ever since high school. It's been music, either playing it, doing sound, some way. I was in the studio, yada yada. Up until the last couple of years, I mean, still now, I still do sound and stuff like that. So the whole music thing has never left my life, and that's partly due because of my mom. And it's crazy to think that, you know, being 13 years of age and you're in, you know, middle school, and your mom's like, hey, they got this course, you know, they're teaching guitar. It's the first time they've offered it. You know, you like girls, right? I like girls. Well, you know, if you're a guitarist, you'll probably get the girls, right? And I'm like, I like girls. So yeah. And then the next thing you know, it's like history's made. Like from the moment I was 13 years of age till now, I've been playing guitar. So here I am, 46 years of age. Do the math on it. I don't even know how long that is anymore. 30 some odd years, right? So it's just been my life ever since. And the other catalyst to that was that saying from Mrs. Bean, you know, if somebody wrote a story about your life, would they want to continue to read it? I think that's the important part, and probably a good point to leave on. So I think Andy's going to do a live right now, right? Andy, Amber, you guys are going to do a live, right? No, I'm going to tell you this right now. I know that there are some people that visit this channel that have some differences with others. I have the best subscriber base of the individuals that definitely support me. So it does not go unnoticed. I definitely have the best, like the best of friends. I love that I can have a stream, that I don't have to manage anybody, and everybody's just happy. So that kind of stuff suits me. I like that. And it helps me, as you've probably noticed, keep my focus going when I don't have to worry about conflict or adversity and stuff like that. Like, I'm conflict adverse. I was talking with Andy the other day. Whether you know it or not, I'm conflict adverse. I do not do well with it. I've said it before. I am type A passive aggressive. So I have my ways of expressing certain things that I am not happy with in a way that's not healthy. So it's very difficult for me to deal with those sort of situations in real time, because my initial impression or initial idea on how to deal with it is to just go ass mode and deal with it in a way that's not healthy. So, and I have gotten to a point in my life where I'm a lot better at dealing with it and kind of attacking it head on. And even still, the only thing about it is that it generally derails me. And as I mentioned before, I'm A to B to C to D. I'm like, oh, it's gotta step on those points. So when I break that step, that's where I get just everything falls apart. So remember to love those you love forever. And remember that you might not wake up tomorrow. So whatever you say to your loved one tonight, say it now, because you might not get to. I think I'm going to leave it at that, because Charlie obviously has plenty to say. So thank you guys all so much. Andy, I hope you're doing a live one here in a few minutes, because I'm definitely going to jump on. I got more energy in me, and I've got more alcohol to get me there. So I'm definitely in a place now where I can call it a night. And I just thank you guys all so much for making this whole thing right here easy to do. I didn't think this was going to be easy to do, to be honest. So thank you all so much. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Goodbye.